Understanding Japan begins with looking at early culture and history. Long before the Meiji era started in 1868, Japan had been a country which drew heavily from its natural surroundings to produce objects of beauty and function. Thousands of years ago, the prehistoric Jomon were the first humans to make fired earthenware.
It is also a land of rice culture, which has influenced the collective spirit of the people. Rice was introduced from the continent over 2,000 years ago, and this resulted in permanent settlements with the capital city and an emperor at the throne.
Rice remains at the heart of the cuisine today, and the cultivation of rice is important in Japanese religious rituals and festivals.
Around the 7th century, there was a high period of cultural exchange and influence from the Asian continent. Japan became a court society centered around the imperial couple. A highly refined court society, it is still represented in the Hinamatsuri Doll's Day festival.
It was during this period over 1,000 years ago that the world's first novel was written by a Japanese court lady, Murasaki Shikibu. The Tale of Genji remains a classic in Japanese literature.
The feudal period saw the rise of the warrior class. Samurai lords jockeyed for power, territory, and influence in their respective regions.
The Edo period, from 1603 to 1867, would be the last era of the samurai. Under the Tokugawa shogunate, two things happened. Edo, which is now Tokyo, became the political center of Japan. And it was also a time of isolation where the Japanese were cut off from foreign trade and influence.
Bushido, the code of the warrior, was developed at this time. The code of the samurai lives on in Budo as a Japanese way of discipline and stoicism. In this period, Ito Jakuchu would create a mosaic technique in his birds and animals in the flower garden, making him the first pixel artist 300 years before his time.
Artists were ranked very highly in the feudal Japan class system. The rise of the merchant class saw the rise of the popular culture of leisure. Kabuki theater and geisha are all imagined in the old woodblock ukiyo-e prints.
In many places in the country, there are still the remains of early Japanese history. The influences on design and art still exist. Today, the United Nations, UNESCO, designates at least 21 heritage sites in Japan that should be preserved for eternity, both natural and cultural.
In Tokyo, elements of this history are everywhere. Right next to the Tokyo Tower, made famous in the B-movies like Godzilla vs. Tokyo, the Tokugawa shoguns had their family temple. A bygone era? Perhaps, but one is still present in art and culture in this very modern Japan.